And with us now is Matt Zimmerman. You'll hear him on the radio on all the Razorback basketball broadcasts, including tomorrow night when Arkansas hosts Northern Iowa at Bud Walton Arena. 7 o'clock tip, radio at 6:30, and Coach Z is with us now here on Ruskin and Zach. Coach, good afternoon. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Y'all doing good?
We're doing good. We appreciate you spending some time with us today.
Yeah.
It is very early, but what are a handful of takeaways you've got about this version of the Razorback basketball team in 21 and 22 so far in this young season?
Well, it really is. It's still trying to figure everything out and what's gonna go down, because there's so much talent, and at times have played really good. At times have played really good defense. Especially, I love the defense against North Texas, who's a pretty good program, and only won that game by 8, but really locked those guys down. Mercer, you fall behind again. It was kind of the same old deal. You fall behind, and you kind of scratching your head, and then they played a great second half and blow Mercer out. Outscoring by 21 in the second half. Again, it was kind of keyed by J.D. Note scoring and by the defense, team defense. And mostly just half-court man-to-man and getting after them hard. And then, of course, you play Gardner-Webb, a team I really thought that we would blow out because they weren't very big and they weren't real athletic, and they play a little slower, grinded-out game. And then, they were up 6 with about, 6 or 7 to go in the first half. And you're like, man, here we go again. Just another team kind of making the Razorbacks work more than you thought they were going to have to work. But then everything goes really good after that. Just start getting transition baskets, attacking. Connor had a stretch where he really played well. JD got hot again, and you're up 31 points and end up winning by 17 or 18. So there's been some good stuff. The thing that you really like watching right now is just seeing guys get better. But another thing that's interesting is watching how Coach is trying to put it all together as well. What I mean by that is like a Jackson Robinson who starts the second exhibition game against North Texas. First real game he doesn't play. And the other day, when the game got out of hand against Gardner-Webb, he came in, he played well. And Connor doesn't play in the first regular season game, a guy that played a lot last year. Didn't play as much down the stretch in March, but he played a lot November through February. And he doesn't start. He doesn't play at all in game 1. And then game 2 he starts. And he plays really well with the 17 points. And then, or 19 points, whatever it was. And then guys like KK, who started the first regular season game against Mercer, and in the second game doesn't play quite as much. So it's kind of interesting watching Coach figure out his team and them figuring out what Coach wants. And because the rotation, to me, you got a lot of talent, but the rotation is still not quite exactly set yet.
Coach, you've been here. How hard is it for a guy like Eric Musselman and his staff with 7 new faces, that learning curve? You've had him for a couple of months. You're 2 games into this. When you put him out on the floor, even at this time of the year, it doesn't feel like they know what they're going to get just yet.
Well, he knows what each player can do. He knows that, but he has to figure out how they fit in with the other 4 guys that are playing. There's some players like a Devo it really doesn't matter who they're out there with. They're going to do their thing. Whether it's for him, it's blue collar toughness, defense, keeping plays alive. That's what he brings. Some guys need to play with certain type of players. If you're Moses Moody, it doesn't really matter who he plays with. He's going to still be pretty good. Other guys need guys that can set them up, or if it's a guard, they need guys that know that I'm fixing to make this kind of pass to them, and they know where to be at what time to be there. And even on the defensive end, when they're, how they get through screens and how they help each other through screens and how they help each other with the talking on the floor. So some guys just fit better with other guys. And I think that's still what he's trying to figure out. It's like Trey Wade, who he's another one of those guys that look like and still looks like he can really help this team. And then he hadn't been playing as much, especially the last game. He's someone you feel like he's going to play 15 to 20 minutes a game, and he's averaging 11 minutes, and it's going to be hard for him to play if Connor's going out there hitting 19 points. And so these are all good problems to have because there's a lot of depth. Kamani Johnson's a good player. and he's been hurt, but he's been available for 2 regular season games. He's got 9 minutes in 2 games. He's a pretty good player, and so for Coach Musselman, he's got to be loving it because he's got guys chomping at the bit to get out there, and that is what's so good because you don't think Kamani Johnson, when he hits that floor tomorrow night, he's going to give everything he's got. He's going to try to play to his very, very best. Why? He wants to play some more, you know. And so I think that it's really interesting watching all this play out. And, you know, who's the first guy off the bench? Who's the second guy? Who's the third guy off the bench? Who's, you know, even a little bit now, who's going to start? KK started the game. Jackson has started the game. Connor has started the game. So we kind of see the core of, you know, 5 or 6 guys you know are going to play and be out there. But those next 2 or 3 guys, it's still a little bit foggy.
We're talking with Matt Zimmerman here, analyst on the Razorback Sports Network with Chuck Barrett. Hear him tomorrow night for the broadcast of the Arkansas Northern Iowa game. I can't help but hear and think about what Dave Van Horn does in baseball, where the early season games, it's just kind of figuring out all the parts. And then, you know, around conference play, everybody's roles sort of crystallize. And it feels like that's where Musselman is here, just trying to do all these experiments, win the games, but also within the game kind of experiment how all these parts fit together like we've been talking about.
Oh, I think he's loving it. I think he's loving sitting there. I think he's loving the fact that, hey, we're about to play Gardner Webb, and I'm going to start Connor Vanover. And Connor didn't even play in the last game. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of fun for him to kind of, you know, do all this and like a mad scientist and put it all together and who he wants to play with who and whether he starts them or brings them off the bench. So, yeah, it is going to crystallize for him, and I think that, you know, there's a lot of pieces that he's still figuring out. But the good thing is he's got 3 of the best returners in college basketball. There's no one in our conference that have 3 guys. Jalen and Devo and J.D. Note. No one in our league has 3 returners. There may be some, you can argue that they maybe have somebody's good or better than those guys, but no one has 3 guys coming back to their own program that had such a big impact as those 3 did last year going to the Final 8. And so that's the backbone of this whole team is those 3 guys. And Connor, you know, was wanting to get back in that group because he was with that group for 3/4 of the season last year. But those 3 guys, and then you add especially the 3 older grad transfers that really can play, Audis, Stanley Umude, and Chris Likes. That gives you 6 guys that are going to be out there every game. Those 6 are, boom, they're locked in. He's not ever going to get to a point where he's not playing one of those 6. And so that's all. You've got 12 on scholarship. So that leaves 6 other guys that are fighting for maybe 2 or 3 spots in the rotation. Because he'll play 12 in a blowout, but he's not going to play 12 in a close game with Mercer, or he's not going to play 12 with a close game against an SEC team on the road. You know, so it's really interesting how it pans out. This team shoots pretty good. There's a lot of options to shoot the ball. They have not shot it great so far. And the one thing that I know he's been frustrated with, and we talked about this on the radio with Coach Musselman after the Gardner Webb game, is his teams here in the 2 years he's been here have been good at guarding the three-point line. His first team here was really, really good at guarding the three-point line. The team wasn't as good. I think they finished tied for 9th in the league, but that's how they won games that they did was really, really good defense, especially guarding the three-point line. And they've allowed these opponents the first 2 games to kind of get some looks. Even Gardner Webb, they were wearing it out in the first half. And so I know that's something he's harping on, and this defense is going to get better. I love the defense in the half court. Other than they're giving up a few open threes, no one's hurting them in the paint. No one's had anybody yet that could just beat them off the dribble, attack, go score. They've not been much of that. Very few attacks to the basket and score it against this Arkansas defense. And that's what's going to carry this team. I'm an offensive guy. I like seeing that ball go through that basket. But this team will have a chance to go deep because same as last year. Last year they could score, but they played really, really good defense. And, again, I think it's going to be that combo again. He's got a lot of options, guys. JD, we said it before the season, I feel like he's going to lead the league in scoring. He hadn't disappointed, and he's been on fire the first couple games. The reason he's going to lead the league in scoring, 3 reasons. 1, he's really good. Number 2, he's going to get to play 38, 39, 40 minutes a game. And number 3, he's going to get a lot of shots. So it's not like coach telling him, hey, when you go out there, you can only shoot, 12 to 15 times. He shot 26 in the first game. JD's going to have some big scoring games, and it's going to be fun to watch these guys as the season goes. It's a good team.
Yeah. Coach, we're getting I've got a text question and then a question of my own. Who has just sort of surprised you where you were like, okay, this guy's better than I thought he was, and then our listeners want to know how's the towel.
Okay, who has surprised me? I have really liked Jackson Robinson. He hadn't done a lot yet as far as, the other day he made a couple threes coming off the bench, but I loved him in the red-white game and some of the practices I went to this summer. And, I left there one day, he's 6'6", 6'7", can really shoot the basketball. He's got a beautiful, repeatable shot. He shoots the same shot every time. He wore it out one day in practice. He made like everything he shot. And I walked out there and I'd looked at his A&M stuff before, but I was like, A&M wasn't very good. And there was times they didn't play him very much. I got to figure out why. And I started digging into the stuff at A&M and trying to watch a little film of that. And, it was surprising that he didn't play 25, 28 minutes a game at A&M. And they weren't good, but he's very talented, very talented. I've been surprised at him. But, again, he's not quite in the rotation yet. He's still fighting to get in there. And I've been surprised at Audie's Tony. We knew how good he was. I remember watching it live when he had 22 or whatever against Duke, but he surprised me a little bit with just how he brings it every single play. He's like foaming at the mouth out there, and he is so athletic. He's been really good. He's been really, really good. I thought coming in this year, Stanley was a better player than Audis, and that's not a clear-cut deal. Audis has been really, really, really good. And then my brown towel that I've had, started using that thing when I got out of the Army in 1995. I still throw it on my knee, even on the radio. I'm not coaching anymore. It just makes me feel good to have that brown towel around. A lot of basketball games, guys. A lot of basketball games, that old brown towel thing.
Yeah.
Okay, you
from Charleston to Lavaca to Fort Smith Northside to Shiloh Christian, Dardanelle, all these gyms I've coached in over the years. Conway. That towel been right there. That don't count Kentucky and LSU and Texas A&M and Kansas. That towel been in a lot of gyms.
Now, have you
So cool.
Have you consulted how to store that properly during the off season so that we don't get any degradation on that?
No. Gotta keep my towel. The towel likes winning. The towel likes seeing the Razorbacks win.
Has it always been brown, or did it just become brown?
No, in the Army, you have a lot of brown towels.
Okay.
And you would use a brown towel. And the quick story of that was my first job was a little rural school called Plainview, which is now called Two Rivers. And I lived in a trailer. It cost me $300 a month, and I couldn't afford it. And our manager, Sabrina Perry, told me, Coach, you're going to have some towels for tonight. We ain't got any towels. So I ran home to put on my khakis and a polo. Or I think back then I wore my khakis and a shirt and a tie to all the games, and we were going to Scranton. You guys know where Scranton is?
Absolutely.
Yep. And we were going to Scranton, and I grabbed about 6 of those towels. I just got out of the Army. It was like 2 months ago. And so I have these 6 Army brown towels, and we're sitting there before the game. I coached girls and boys. I was getting ready to coach the girls' game, and Sabrina hands me this towel and said, here's your towel. I said, what do I need a towel for? And she said, well, you just need to have one, keep it separate. They get theirs nasty and sweaty, and we'll lose those towels. And this one's yours, you keep this one. I said, how are you going to know the difference? And she grabbed it, and it had a Quartermaster Laundry tag on it, which has some numbers on it. That way, when you turn something in to get it cleaned in the Army, like if they're out in the field or something, they tag it. So it comes back to you. It had this number, this Quartermaster Laundry tag. And to this day, it's still got that green towel tag on it. But it was I kept it. And, of course, she was right. Those other 5 or 6 towels were gone within 3 games. So I just kept that one. And, I've had players grab it during timeouts and wipe off everything imaginable. Some of them you don't want to imagine.
Yeah, that's right.
And I've had them, it's brought up Coke stains and everything else. But I clean it up and I hand wash it and carry it with me.
Do you take it to football when you're up there spotting for Chuck?
No. I've never taken it. Somebody else asked me. I've never taken it to Razorback football. I probably should, but they.
I'm not suggesting maybe you take it with you this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really should.
You should. Nice every little bit helps, right?
To beat number 2 Alabama and have my towel with me.
Yeah, you put it in your put it like in your jacket pocket like a scarf. Like one of those little pocket deals.
Pocket square.
Yeah, a little pocket square.
That's good. All right, Matt Zimmerman with us tomorrow night, 6:30 airtime, 7 o'clock tip with Arkansas and Northern Iowa. Thanks, Coach Z. We appreciate it.
All right, guys. Enjoyed being on. Y'all have a good one.
All right, you too.
That
All right,
was
good
awesome.
stuff. I like that.
He's always good for a story.
That's
or
a
two.
great story. I've never heard of that
No, I
before.
haven't either.
You, I'm sure he's told it before. I haven't heard it before.
We're back and better than ever. A new web interface to start the basketball season and more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline remains your #1 spot for all basketball and football action this season. Head to the new updated desktop or mobile website to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BELIEVE50 to receive your bonus. That's BLEAV50 to receive your bonus. From basketball, football, and baseball postseason, NHL, boxing, and UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts.